If you want to get into filming or VFX work, Action VFX is a great place to start. They have high quality stock footage at a great price, but if you want some free stuff, they have many free collections. If you want to help out Flood Productions and buy their assets, check the link in the notes below. Okay, so welcome to Flood Productions, and first off, I'm going to be talking about the state of Falcon Team 3. Okay, so there are 2 days of filming. We have currently done one. We've got one more to go, which I'm planning to film after Christmas. The first day went really well. We got as much done as I wanted, actually a little bit more than what I had planned to get done. So, as an overall, it's going pretty well so far. I'm hoping for a January or February release date of next year. However, there are a couple of complications, such as the fact that I think I'm ready to do a couple of reshoots for some of the scenes because there was a lot of wind on the day, and for some of the dialogue you can't hear it properly, so it may be that I have to do a couple of reshoots, but other than that, it's right on schedule. Okay, welcome to the tutorial section. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a realistic looking explosion inside of Adobe After Effects. Okay, so there are a few things you're going to need for this. Obviously you're going to need an explosion asset, and there are plenty of free ones you can find, but the one I will be using is from Action VFX, which is paid, but you do not need to be using any paid stock footage to do this, and you will obviously need some footage to put the explosion onto. Okay, so once you've imported your footage, you're going to want to drag it down to here, and this will create a new composition with the properties of the clip. Okay, so you'll want to select the tracker option on the right hand side here and click track motion. This will bring up a track point, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to get something that you can actually track in the scene. So you might have to place down some tracking points somewhere when you go and shoot this, but for me I can just track this bench right here, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to select that, make sure my thing is at the start of the timeline, and then I'm just going to click track forward. So I've already got a finished one here, and as you can see I've got it fully motion tracked to the park bench there. So what you're going to want to do is you want to add a null object. So go to layer, go to new, and then go to null object, and then once you've got it in, you're going to want to open up your clip, go to the motion trackers, tracker point 1, and then you're going to want to copy all of these points along here, and then you're going to want to open up this, go to the position section here, and then paste them all in there. Now this will mean that the null object will be tracked to the tracking data that we have in the track point. So once you have your null object tracked to your bench or whatever you're deciding to track with, you're going to want to bring in your stock footage. Now I will be using a dust explosion from Action VFX, but pretty much any explosion stock footage will work here, but do bear in mind that if you don't use a dirt explosion, it will take quite a bit more time trying to get it to look right, because you have to do some color grading, etc, etc. But basically, if you use a dirt explosion, it's a lot quicker and easier, and it will look more realistic because this is obviously on dirt. So I'm going to bring this in here. Right, so this is what we've currently got for the scene. Now I'm going to just place, put that in the position it needs to be in. And you can see here that this is the explosion we're going to have, but there's obviously a couple of glaring issues, such as the fact that there is, like some grounds here from the stock footage, and that it's not motion tracked. But what we're going to do is we're going to parent it to the null object, and then now, so if you now watch this back, you can see that this has been motion tracked into place. So first off, we're going to sort out the grounds here that's obviously in the way, but this will not be on your stock footage at all, so if it's not, then you can just skip over this, but if this is there, then you're going to want to click the mask tool. Okay, so you're going to want to sort of do like a U shape just around the explosion here, and this will mean that we can cut out most of the dirt quite easily and quickly. So now I've created this mask, it'll be a lot easier. So first off, we're going to want to just make sure we actually do have the explosion in view here, and make sure we're not just cutting that out here. Okay, so I've created a mask, so we just have a little bit of the ground left, but the explosion is still there and it hasn't been cut out. So what we're going to do is we're going to move some of our mask points just up a little bit here, and we're just going to put on, and I'm just going to feather it slightly, but not too much, just to make sure it looks realistic enough, but we can't see the ground at the same time. So now it's a lot better. We can't really see the ground, but you can see it just peeking a little bit there, so we're going to reselect this and just make sure that our points are above it there. Okay, so this looks fine. Obviously you can see a little bit just here, but you won't be able to notice that once we add the rest of the stuff in. So this is actually a little bit too small in my opinion for what I'm going for. I feel like it's not quite realistic enough for that size, so what we're going to do is we're going to select this, and we're just going to up the scale of this a little bit. I'm just going to reframe this, and we're just going to make sure we got this in the right position. Let's make sure you keep it in the right position here. That looks better, but still I want it to be a little bit bigger. I wanna, yeah, well, it's a little bit too close. We'll move it a little bit further back. Okay, so that's pretty close to the size I want that at, and I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so there are some things we can do to make this look better. It's like there's a dust wave, so I'm gonna bring in dust wave here, and I'm going to once again parent it to the null object, and obviously there's a black background on this, so I'm going to press this button down here and then change this to screen. Also, it's going to increase the size on this, and I'm actually going to put it behind the ad. Let's put it in front of the explosion layer. Let's make sure that's just motion tracks. Yep, it is. So maybe that's the sort of look you're going for, but in this shot it doesn't really work too well. It's not quite realistic enough that the dust doesn't look too good. So I'm actually going to once again do the mask thing here, just so we can get rid of this dirt patch on the bottom. Okay, so once you've tweaked the mask, we get something that looks like this, but the dust explosion does just come in a little bit too soon, so I'm going to drag that back. And also just slightly adjust the location of this just to make it blend it a little better. Okay, so you can keep tweaking the dust if you feel the need to do so, but as a general, this one is looking pretty good. So obviously you want to add some audio into that and probably change a couple of things here and there to make it better for your particular shot, but hopefully this helps you and hopefully you've learned something. So thank you guys very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy the video, please smash the like button for more awesome content on the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.